Hey girls, you hear me? All right, we'll get started and I got too many AirPods in here. Take that one out. Headphones and AirPods together. We'll get started in just a quick minute. As folks join, I have a bunch trying to get in right now. And we're going to talk about the awesome holidays. Can you believe it's time to start talking about the holidays already? And I keep thinking to myself, it seems like I'm planning out my holidays, and I keep thinking it seems so far away, and yet it's September 17th. I don't know where this month has gone. It's just disappeared. It's gone by so quickly. And I know that I'm gonna be putting up the tree before long. That's okay, Rita. That's okay. All right. Somebody's texting me asking me for the direct link. Hold on just a second. Amy King, your hair looks so pretty today.
Thank you.
It looks
I'm doing
beautiful.
my burner shot.
There you
Yummy.
go. Listen to her. It's delicious. That's mindset right there. I don't find them too bad if I plug my nose. I find that if I plug my nose and just down it, that's how I get my. Sometimes I put my essentials in my tea, which is what I did today. I went to the gym and then I put my essentials in here. And it changes the flavor of my tea just enough that that's taken me all day to get it down. I find that I would rather just put my essentials in a little bit of water, plug my nose and down it. And then I get the shiver down my spine and I move on. I just, ugh.
Hey KJ, I put essentials in mine. The cherry essentials. Um, so what it's called? You can get the
Oh, you
different
mean the
flavors.
hydrates? The
Hydrates, yeah.
hydrates?
I do water, EAAs, and hydrates in mine. And then I shake it up and drink it. So
Yeah.
not too bad.
Yeah. Usually if I'm doing a little bit of, usually if I'm doing just essentials and creatine, I'll sometimes throw in a little cherry hydrate into it, but I don't do well in anything that I sip, like my tea. I put it in here just to be able to get it down. And I'm like, I got home from the gym at 9 and I've been sipping on the same thing of protein since then because it just, I don't know, it wrecks my tea. And I also have cherry hydrates in here too, but it
I
just,
like that Blue Skies Colada, and I drink on that after I exercise with the creatine in it. I love the Blue Skies Colada.
I know a lot of people like it. I can't do the blue skies. It's too
Citrusy.
coconutty.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't like coconut. I have a bizarre relationship with coconut where I kind of really like it in certain circumstances, and then other circumstances it gives me the willies. Like I cannot stand the hydrates, the coconut hydrates. They are, to me, it tastes like body wash. I don't know,
well,
but there are a
we
lot of
all
people
have
that
different
like that
tastes.
one. Yeah, exactly, right? There are a lot of people that like that one. I don't know what it is. I can't do that one. I like the cherry the best, and then I prefer the orange and then the lemon. But
See, I've gotten to the point where I love my kefir just plain, and a lot of people
yeah,
still can't get used to the flavor of the kefir, but I love it.
yeah, I am badly, so badly out of rhythm with my kefir. I had gotten into such a good, stable nightly rhythm. Like I had to have my kefir. I craved it at bedtime. Like I looked forward to it. And then retreat. And I got away from it. And I can't seem to get back into a rhythm. And I need to because I was almost to that point, Jan, where I could have a cup of kefir without, being horrified.
I do it twice a day in the mornings and at night, and
For
I
you,
love it.
that's awesome.
And I've been making the kefir cheese, and I made some kefir ranch dressing with my kefir
Ooh,
cheese plus a little bit of zero yogurt, and
that sounds good.
made the mayo, to put in it. So yeah, it turned out really good. So I've got half kefir and half um, of the uh, zero yogurt in there, and the two of them together helps it a lot
Yeah,
in dips.
that's
So
awesome.
I'm making dip to take to the beach. So they're always doing these heavy ranch dips with chips. Well, I'm bringing some popcorners and I'm bringing my ranch
Yeah,
dip.
I love ranch dip. We used to always, Tony and I would always snack on ranch dip and potato chips. And so I have made it out of Greek yogurt before, and it's really, really good. I got something in my eyeball. It's really good. But kefir is, that's a good idea for that. I like kefir cheese with ranch in it a lot. I really like that. So, all right,
Well,
girls, I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone. And there will be time for questions. But I'm just going to chat a little today about the holidays and surviving the struggle that's coming our way. Because for me, for years, it was a big struggle. It was a season where, especially if I went into it with a diet plan, I knew it was going to be a struggle. I dreaded it. And because life is not all about food. We've all learned that. Holidays are more than just celebrating food, but it's an important part of the holidays, an important part of the celebrations. I love holiday food. I look forward to the Thanksgiving meal. I look forward to the Christmas treats. It's not that they rule my holidays or are the whole reason for the celebration, but I do enjoy them. And, you know, it, a lot of you know that I am a 100% on plan person and that I have committed to just staying on plan, that I found it much easier to just stay on plan than to be on again, off again. And that started for me with getting through the holiday season in 2020 with being on plan. I with the encouragement of some of you were there during that season, and with the encouragement of community and sticking to it even when I didn't think I could, and having a completely on plan Halloween candy everywhere, having completely on plan Thanksgiving, and then getting through Christmas, and I got to the end of the season was like, for goodness sakes, if I can go the entire holiday season 100% on plan, why am I ever feeling like I can't stay on plan? Why am I feeling like I have to go off plan here and there? Why am I taking these weekends of indulgence to go off plan? If I can get through the holidays, then I should be able to get through any situation on plan. And honestly, since then, I've gotten through any situation on plan, and it hasn't been nearly as hard as I went into it thinking it would be. So, the fact that you showed up today, I think that is confirmation that you are serious about not letting food and family pressure run your holidays. And maybe the fact that you showed up today is proof that in the past, pressure from outside sources through the holiday season has been an issue for you. So I want to talk about surviving that holiday struggle, okay? And let's be honest, this is not just about Christmas cookies or holidays. It's about birthday parties, potlucks, church fellowships, Tuesday night when your husband comes home with a dozen donuts. You have felt that tension between wanting to honor your body and not wanting to be the girl that dives into the donuts. We've all felt that tension, and that, you know, I'm the girl that who chooses health versus I'm the girl that wants the donuts. We felt that kind of, disconnect in our journey. Most of us have. So I just want to break that down a little today. And I want to leave you with practical tools, a biblical mindset shift about it, because if you know anything about me, that is where I really like to root my teaching, is in a biblical mindset. And I want to encourage you that you can be that girl that says no with confidence or yes with joy. without guilt, without shame, without apology. So, a quick scripture to anchor us today. I love 1 Corinthians 10:13. This applies to so many areas of our lives, but to me, it's a very practical, it's a verse that can be very practically applied to our health journey. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. No temptation. There's no temptation out there that others haven't experienced. There all these temptations are common, whether any part of your life, any temptation that you struggle with. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will provide you a way so you can endure it. He promises us that when temptation comes our way, whether it's food temptation, and for us, that's what we're talking about today, so we're going to apply it directly to that, there is a way out. And that's what I want to talk about today, finding that way out through the holidays. I think that to understand the struggle that a lot of us go through during the holiday season, we really have to call it what it is, and that's food pressure. Pressure shows up in three ways. We talk to our kids about peer pressure, right? Well, food pressure is very, very similar. Pressure from people. Maybe it's Aunt Nancy, Aunt Susie, Aunt whoever saying, oh, come on, it's just one bite. It's Christmas. It's just one bite. You're never going to eat sugar again? I mean, what are you, never going to have my famous cookies again? Maybe it's pressure from tradition. But we always have grandma's pie. It's not Christmas without it. Grandma always makes this pie. How can you expect me to not have this pie at Christmas? Or how can you not indulge in this pie at Christmas? Or maybe it's pressure that we put on ourselves. It's the holidays. I deserve this. It is Christmas. I deserve to have those treats that I love, that anchor the holidays for me, that feel like Christmas. I don't feel like it's Christmas if I don't have my personal favorite dessert during the holidays, graham cracker cake. Well, is it Christmas if I don't have graham cracker cake? I should be able to indulge. Drop, if you can, drop in the chat for me what one of those hits you hardest. Is it the people pressure, the tradition, or your own mind that really hits you the hardest during the holidays? For me, I can tell you without a doubt, it's my own mind. I do experience pressure here and there, at Christmas parties or gatherings. I do experience that. Tradition, maybe, but not so much. For me, it's me. It's me, yeah. So it's quite a variety of answers. Some it's people, some it's me, some it's my own mind, some it's tradition. Yeah, yeah. My family expects the baking, so it was very wrapped together. Yeah, yeah. All right. So people has been one for me in the past, and not so much. Not so much. It's actually, for me, I think when I really stop and think about it, it's more my own mind. So my grandmother and then my mother always made graham cracker cake. All it is graham crackers layered with whipped cream that has a little chocolate sauce in it. That's it. Layers stuck in the refrigerator. Best thing I've ever eaten in my life. Okay. I've replicated it on Trim Healthy pretty darn well, and I get to enjoy that. But for me, it sat in the fridge. And, when I was at home, it was in the fridge and I would indulge in it. Once I moved out and made my own, or mom used to make one for it, I'd say, can you please make me one of those graham cracker cakes? This was way before Trim Healthy. And it would sit in my fridge and I would take a spoon and have a little bite, have another little bite, have another little bite. It was one of those desserts that one bite was never enough. You practically could eat the whole pan. It sits there on our counter or in our fridge, kind of singing at us. And for many of us, if you experience people pressure, when you finally say no, maybe it's your cousin or a friend or an aunt that gasps like you've just rejected the family name. How could you say no? That is the moment where we can really realize that this is bigger than fudge or graham cracker cake or Christmas cookies. It's about identity. We've connected that food to identity, to belonging, and to expectations. But the good news is we are not weak, we are not failing, we're just in the middle of a story, and we get to decide which way the story goes. There's often a guilt and shame cycle that's attached to this. It's usually you resist once, maybe twice, and then you just cave. You eat the thing, and you've decided, you've made the decision, whatever it is, I'm going to just eat the thing and go about my day. And that's when the guilt comes in, the shame, the old vow that hits you, I'll start over tomorrow. That kind of guilt shame cycle. Does that sound familiar to anyone here? Anybody experience that? I'm just going to go ahead and indulge. And then the guilt hits, and then the shame hits, and then you feel like you need to find a starting point again. I know I have been there. I have been there. I have been there so many times on vacations where it's just one bite, it's just one meal. And then 10 minutes later, I'm finishing the dessert too. Like I started with it's just one meal and ended with the dessert and started thinking about what my next meal is. Is it going to be dinner? What can I eat off plan? Because I just totally dove in and went off plan. And then I finished the plate, and that's when the shame hits. But what I've learned is I don't need to prove myself to anyone, to the food, to the pie, to anyone. I don't need to prove myself by eating or by not eating. I need to honor God with my next step. And if you've ever been part of my coaching, you know that that's what I focus on the most. A indulgence off plan is not the end of my story. My story continues with honoring God with the next step. So even if the last step that I took was messy and filled with shame and filled with guilt, my next one is a step towards honoring God, and that can be holy. A don't quit now before your breakthrough step. So, how can we survive that food pressure that comes at us over the holiday season? Comes at us anytime, right? Comes at us in the middle of summer at barbecues, at potlucks, it wasn't that long ago when I went to a church gathering and it was catered. And I knew it was going to be catered. Chick-fil-A was catering, and it was a ladies' thing. And I thought, surely, if this is a catered lunch, there's going to be the Cool Wraps or the salad available there at the catered lunch. And when I got there, the only thing that was available was the fried chicken sandwich with a side of chips, and they had a bunch of different sodas. That was it. There was no fruit. There was no, I expected it was the middle of summer. I expected there to be some fresh fruit for dessert or something. Nothing. It was choose the fried chicken sandwich and chips or don't. Those were the options. And I honestly felt a little panic in that moment of pressure because I walked away from the table and I sat down with a group of ladies, and every single lady at the table said, "What, you're not going to eat?" And I said, "No, I don't. I actually don't eat that. That's just something that I choose not to eat." She said, "Well, you can't just not eat. Can't you just have this once? It's just one time. It's just a fried chicken sandwich." And I actually used that opportunity to share why I chose not to indulge. Yeah, I ended up missing lunch. I didn't die over missed lunch. Did I go 6 hours between meals? Yeah. Did I die? No. At least I don't think so. I'm still here. But I used that opportunity to explain why I chose. And I tried to do it gracefully because I didn't want it to be like a guilt session because everybody else at the table was eating a chicken sandwich. So what? That's what they chose to eat. That didn't bother me. It didn't bother me any that they were eating that, but it seriously bothered them that I wasn't eating. And that is another piece of guilt that we often experience when we choose not to indulge, that we feel guilt over saying no. At least for me, I sometimes feel guilt over saying no because I almost feel like it's judgment towards somebody who says yes. And I've had to kind of reconcile that is not the same thing. So, what framework can we use when we find ourselves in that situation? Practical things that we can do. Pause and pray. Yes, I can pause and pray over a food situation. The Lord cares about all the things. The Lord cares about the weight I carry on my heart, the concerns of my heart. He knows I can pray about simple things like that in my life. Pause and pray. Before you grab the food, pause and whisper, Lord, is this honoring to you? That 2-second pause, the 2 seconds in between seeing the food, picking up the food, and eating the food, to pause and pray creates so much power. That just few seconds creates power and brings the control back to you. If we take the time to pause and say a quick prayer, it does not need to be an entire, on your knees 20-minute prayer. It can be as simple as, Lord, is this honoring to you? And I believe he speaks to our hearts in those moments. I absolutely believe it. We'll know very quickly. The other thing is preparing and planning. How can we plan ahead for parties? Can we bring a dish? Now, there are situations where absolutely we can bring a dish to share, or we're expected to bring a dish, and we know that if we bring something, we'll have something to eat. I love when I go to a potluck of any sort, I will often bring 2 dishes. I will bring an entree and a dessert, even though I'm only asked to bring one, because I know that if I bring an entree and dessert, I'm good. I've got everything I need. If there's nothing else on plan, I'm good. I know that that's not always possible. There are, events that you go to that you cannot walk in with a casserole of your own. And I know that. But when you can, bringing a dish that is on plan. Eating before the party is another great thing. And that doesn't mean you have to go into the party and skip all the goods. There's often small little things at a party. I will often indulge in the meat and cheese platters, the veggie platters with the dip, those things, because I've had a sandwich or something like that before I walked in that has allowed me to feel satisfied before I walk in. So I'm not feeling like everything on the table needs to go on my plate. Having a dessert swap ready. I often go into a potluck or different things with a small chocolate bar. The little chocolate bar from Aldi's, the little tiny ones, those are a game changer for me because they're so dark and so rich. Do I think they are the absolute best thing on the planet? No, in fact, I don't. Would I rather have a big old piece of red velvet cake? Yes, I would. Okay. But I have found that those little super dark chocolate bars, literally 2 bites out of it, half of it, it knocks that major craving for those sweets on the table out. It hits those serotonin, it boosts your serotonin in a way that the stuff on the table may look good, but I don't desire it the way I did before I took 2 bites of dark chocolate. It's a real winner for me, dark chocolate like that. I love those little things from Aldi. And again, I don't think they're the best tasting thing on the planet, but they do their job. They really do their job. And when I walk into a situation like that prepared, it removes the panic. I feel confident. If I walk in, and I'll tell you, if you live in the South, I mean, there's potlucks everywhere, right? Dish, what do they call them? Covered dishes. There are all these different names for potlucks. They have them everywhere. But when I lived at home in Maine, you could go in, there could be a major potluck, like serious potluck. I moved to the South. These people know how to potluck, let me tell you. I have never seen anything like it in the South. The potlucks are different. There's like a huge table of entree type stuff. Huge. I mean, there can be 20 people there and there's 18 dishes on this table. And then there's minimum, minimum of 2 dessert tables. I've never gone to a potluck down here that didn't have twice as many dessert tables as they had entree tables. And the women in the South know how to cook dessert. I need to go in prepared. Cindy Wetzel is showing the chocolate bar that we're talking about. That's the one I get from Aldi. And you know, if you don't have an Aldi, Lindt 85% and 90% chocolate are really good. And you can get those right at Walmart. But see how little it is? I love those. I do about, usually I do, you can have a whole one, but a lot of times I do half a one. Walking in with something like that takes the power for me away from the table. I'm not saying, guys, don't misunderstand me, that I'm saying that I wouldn't, I'd love to have some of this stuff on the potluck table, but I know that for me and my health and my journey, it doesn't give me the outcome that I'm looking for. It's not going to fuel me well, and it's going to send me down a road that I feel confident would create, more and more trips down that potluck. If I'm going to the potluck um, dessert table and filling up on desserts because, it's a special event, I'm going back and back. I know that about myself. So I walk in with a chocolate bar like that, either that or the Lindt chocolate bar. It takes the power away from that table for me. And it's empowering when you do it. Even if you do it the first time you do it, you're like, man, I did that. The second time you do it, you're like, I did that. The third time you did it, it's old hat and it's not hard. You quickly realize it's not hard. And then you start having people say, tell me what you're doing because I want to learn. I want to get healthy. How are you saying no to those sweets? How are you saying no to that? So being prepared, having a plan ahead of time. What is my plan? And I think it's very important for us to plan situationally, not just a specific event. So not just, Aunt Betty's Christmas gathering, but a Christmas gathering in general, a birthday party in general. What is my typical go-to plan for those events when they come up so that we're not last minute trying to figure it out? Have a plan of what do you plan to do in these different types of situations, like a playbook, so that going into it, when I go to this is what I choose. When I do it with a lot of restaurants, I know that when I go for barbecue, I know right off the top of my head, I know exactly what I'm going to order. If my family decides, oh, we're going to go to McDonald's today, I know what I'm going to order. I have that plan in place ahead of time. And the other thing that is important is to pivot and protect. So there's a lot of P's here. Pause and pray, prepare and plan, pivot and protect. If someone pressures you, have your one-liner ready. Have your one-liner ready. Know ahead of time what your response is. We don't have to be nasty. It's easy to be like, I don't eat that junk. And then we kind of feel guilt because we said it in a way that maybe they're thinking, well, I do. And I don't want to be hurtful. And I don't want somebody to feel like they have to make healthy choices just because I am. I want to be a testimony and an example, but not pushy KJ. I don't want to be that person. I have one-liners that I like to say, like, when somebody says, do you want this? Are you going to have this? I say things like, thank you. I'm saving room for what I really want later. I know there's something I want later, and I'm just going to save room for that. That's an awesome one, Meredith. No, thank you. I have a food allergy. I have used that more than once. And you know what? It's okay. You can say, I have a food sensitivity. Girls, I am highly sensitive to French fries, okay? You can tell somebody I have a food sensitivity. Um, but we can also stand confident on the short, kind, and firm, I'm good, but thank you. I'm good, but thank you. We can feel confident in that. What is a one-liner you have used, like Tabitha just mentioned, or Meredith, I can't have gluten, right? And then they're gonna go, but it's gluten-free. Well, I can't have that kind of gluten either, the gluten-free kind of gluten. You just tell them that. They'll look at you really confused and then they won't give you anything anyway. What is a one-liner you guys have used in the past or you like to use? Yep, I don't eat sugar. If you've been around for a long time with me, you know that one of my favorite lines is, that's not my food. It's just not my food. I have certain things that are my food, and I have certain things that are just not my food, that I have made the decision ahead of time. They're not my food. Silly. Shelly says, I have a sugar allergy. It makes me break out in fat. I love that. I'm going to use that. Remember, you guys, that every time you say no to pressure, you're taking another step towards saying yes to freedom, and freedom is always worth it. It's always, always worth it. I can't risk cross contamination. It's not fun to be gluten free, but it really helps ward off the off plan food. Yeah, it gives me inflammation. It makes my lips swell. Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's definitely a good one. All right, so let's go deeper for just a second. Why do we cave? What do you think the reason is? Do you guys have any thoughts on that? What do you think the reason is? Tell me in the comments. What do you feel like the reason is ultimately that we end up caving? That we end up just guilt, that it will make me happy. Tammy, I have diabetes and I want to keep my legs. That's a good reason. I like my feet. I'd like to keep them. We know it tastes good and it's easy. Yeah, in some cases I say, oh, I haven't eaten sugar for 10 years. It lets them know that it's not a passing fancy. I like that. I like that because so often that it feels like, oh, what are you? You doing keto this weekend? Or we get that kind of judgment of, oh, are you on another diet? I think the main reasons that we end up caving is fear. Fear of offending someone, fear of standing out and being noticed as the person that's not indulging in the room, fear of missing out. FOMO, fear of missing out. What will I do if I don't have my graham cracker cake through Christmas? My Christmas always consists of graham cracker cake. Everybody around me is going to enjoy graham cracker cake, and the holidays are going to be over, and I'm going to have missed it. That's a legitimate fear that we experience. I did for a long time until I replicated it. It was more sadness of missing out. But every time I said no, it was actually a much bigger yes for me. A yes to my health, yes to my peace, yes to be what God has called me to do, and that is to take care of this temple He's given me. Galatians 5:1 says, it is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Freedom is not eating everything in sight. It's not indulging in all the junk that hurts our bodies, that inflames our bodies, that leads us down a path of destruction, that frustrates us and makes us angry and finds us on Monday morning going, oh, here I go again. Freedom is being able to say no without shame and yes without guilt. That is the kind of freedom God wants for us. I truly believe that. So tell me in the comments, what is a holiday food pressure scenario that you dread the most? Maybe it's the dessert table at Thanksgiving. Maybe it is the Halloween candy sitting in the office table that is, you can smell the chocolate from the table. Like Rita's been looking at hers for 3 weeks and hasn't touched it, which is so awesome. Maybe it's the kids coming home with Halloween bags full of candy and them sitting in your living room for a month. What is it that you dread the most? My husband's mom makes Christmas breakfast for us, and I don't want to make her feel like her food isn't good enough for me. The leftovers. I'm pretty strong at the event, but the leftovers are hard. Figuring out what to say when family members who have seen me make off-plan, oops, my thing just scrolled up. Specifically, my mother-in-law. We have a theme of mother-in-laws. Cookie making day with the family. Going out with friends and family and not being able to grab a drink. Not a drinker, but it's nice every once in a while. When others make things and that's all that's there and it's off plan. All right. The most amazing gluten-free Cinnabons that I make traditionally for our family Christmas morning, not on plan at all, and it's so hard to resist them. Have you tried making them on plan? Have you tried an on plan alternative? We'll have to talk about that, Meredith, and see if there's an on plan alternative that we can figure out for that. Okay, but for me, it's often the desserts when we have company over for the holidays, and I'll make myself an on-plan dessert, but I really want their dessert. It was just happened for me at a birthday. Marin turned 18 and I made totally on-plan hibachi for dinner. It was awesome. But then ice cream cake. If I take the time, I can make a delicious ice cream cake on plan, but I didn't have or take the time to make an on plan ice cream cake. And it was really hard for me this year to sit and watch everybody enjoy the birthday ice cream cake and celebrate Marin's birthday, and I didn't indulge in it. Those are the type of situations that I tend to dread is probably a strong word, but stress out about the most. It's the small gatherings that everybody is indulging in the same thing and I'm sitting there without a dessert on my plate. That tends to be my dread situation. Okay, so now we've said what stresses us out the most, which causes us the most fear about the gatherings. Now I want you to write down something different. What is a boundary phrase that you can use this holiday season? It doesn't have to be perfect, just write it. Because clarity is power, understanding ahead of time. You're not failing, you're not weak, this is practice. And practice leads to breakthrough. What is a phrase that you can use that will help you through the holiday season? And I have some examples here, and I just got to pull them up. I have them on. I have my list over here if I can find it. Some examples. Like I said, mine, I do use not my food a lot. It can be things like, I promised myself I'd save room for what I really want. Or I have a client that often uses, I'm that girl who. I'm that girl who chooses health over indulgence. I'm that girl that's working on bettering her blood sugar numbers. I'm that girl that isn't addicted to food anymore. I'm that girl that's stronger than that piece of pie. Those I'm that girl statements are really powerful. When it comes to talking to other people, it can be as simple as no thank you. It can be, those desserts look wonderful. I'm just really full. I'm choosing not to indulge this year. I feel satisfied right now and I don't want to overdo it. These phrases, deciding ahead of time, yes, I'm making better choices for myself. I'm making healthier choices for myself. Yes, that's not my food is a great one. The FOMO only lasts a short time. The feeling will be gone and forgotten surprisingly quickly. You're absolutely right, Anna. You're absolutely right. The hardest part is the 2 minutes leading up to saying no. And then the no, it disappears. The FOMO disappears pretty quickly. Once you've resolved in your mind, that's not my food. I'm not choosing that. I've already made my choice. I feel good about it. That FOMO disappears pretty quickly. Yeah, no thank you without additional commentary. Because truly, most of the time, if somebody says, but these are my famous Christmas cookies that I make every year, what do you mean? Are you never going to have my Christmas cookies again? We can easily just again say, just not today, no thank you. Most of the time, the pushing stops pretty quickly. Yes, the enjoyment of the food only lasts for short moments and then they're gone. They're absolutely gone. And then we're left with frustration with ourselves because we wanted to stick to a plan. So, practical tips as we come to a close here. I want to leave you with these practical tips that are just the basics. Pre-decide your treats. Okay? Don't let food make decisions for you. Choose ahead of time. Maybe it's I'm going to choose to have one slice of pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving. I encourage us all to learn how to make an on-plan pumpkin pie. They're delicious. And the more I eat the on-plan stuff, I don't think I would enjoy regular sugary pumpkin pie. I'm so far removed from sugar that when I make an on-plan pumpkin pie, to me it is so delicious, so, so good. I don't need that other stuff. And that comes with practice. That comes with repetition. That comes with removing that stuff consistently from your diet. But if your choice is to choose an off-plan indulgence over the holidays, make your decision ahead of time. Go into it knowing this is what I choose. I will enjoy Aunt Mary's famous stuffing, but I'm not going to have the rolls. What is something you can decide ahead of time so that guilt doesn't get a seat at the table? You walk in with a plan, you know what's going to happen before you ever get there, and there's no guilt associated. I've made this decision and this is what I'm doing, and I'm moving forward with it. Don't go in hungry to these situations. Eat a protein centered snack before you go. Maybe it's even just a couple of boiled eggs. Maybe it's a glass of chocolate milk with protein powder. Maybe it's a small Greek yogurt with a handful of berries. I'm not saying a 4-course meal before you head into the big event, but having a small snack like that that's protein centered can really, really bring down that need to just jump all in and to dive all in into, all the off-plan stuff. Going in hungry, it's just like going grocery shopping hungry. I come home with 10 things more than what I need if I was hungry when I went. If I just go with a snack on board, I spend a lot less money and I buy a lot less personal choice items if I don't go to the grocery store hungry. Same thing when it comes to events. Keeping something in your hand at an event like that, whether it's if it's a plate of veggies and dip that you're having, if it's a fruit, you're at an event where people are milling about and you have some fruit on a plate. Maybe it's a cup of coffee. Maybe it's sparkling water. Honestly, people pressure you less when they see you're already holding something. If everybody's milling around having goodies at a holiday party and you have nothing in your hand, you're more likely to get pressure of somebody to say, "Can I get you something? Would you like this? Would you like that?" If you already have something in your hand, most of the time, the pressure disappears because you look like you're all set. And set your boundaries with joy, not apology, okay? No, thank you, I'm good. That is enough. That looks amazing, but I'm saving room for something else. Boundaries do not have to feel heavy. They don't need to feel difficult. And they don't need to be full of, I'm so sorry, I can't. They don't need to be filled with apology. They just need to be filled with confidence. Make sure you're focusing on the people at the event. When you feel that pull towards that potluck table, pivot your attention. Ask someone about how their year is going or their week is going. Start a conversation. Food fades into the background when you shift to connection and away from just sitting and eating food. And then have a reset plan. If you do overeat, don't spiral. Your next meal is your reset. Not tomorrow, not Monday, your very next meal. That is your reset. Even if you only take those 6 steps and run with them, you will be miles ahead of where the average person is this year when they head into the holidays. Okay? Freedom does not come from being perfect the entire holiday season. It comes from consistency. That's it. It comes from intentional, simple choices built around surrender. And my coaching this year has been all about surrender and surrendering those things to God. Some of these things are really difficult. And I've had to surrender those situations to God, to let Him carry the weight of that. I don't need to carry the weight of that. I know what He wants for me, and that is a healthy body. I know He wants that for me. I know that without a shadow of a doubt that the Lord wants me to be healthy. He doesn't want me living in my pain and my inflammation and my struggle due to choices. Now, we all have pain and struggle from other reasons that part of the fallen world. But what I'm referring to is self brought on, major pain and difficulty simply from my food choices. That's where I was for a long, long time. And I know that is not what He wants for me. Okay, so that's what I have for information about this. I'd love to share with you just real quick what I'm working on for this season. I'm gonna share my screen real quick if I can figure out how. I, I've been working with Zoom since I was 20 years old, and I still, every single time I try to share my screen, I go, huh? I don't know what to do. This is what I have coming up this holiday season. It starts October 1st. It's called Holy Healthy Holidays. How many of you, if you've been to Holy Healthy Holidays before, let me know in the comments. I know a lot of you here have been part of Holy Healthy Holidays. And this year, I'm really, really excited about the focus. I'm focusing on, every year I focus on staying on plan. That's the core. I will teach different themes, but they're all about staying on plan. The whole 3 months is about staying on plan through the holidays. I try to simplify it the best I can because I know that's our biggest struggle is just simply staying on plan through the holidays. But I think it's really important to know that we do not have to survive the holidays on willpower alone. You can, and many women in this on this Zoom have before walked through the season with peace, joy, and progress. Okay. I give you today, I say tonight, I took a nap before this call, so in my brain it's tonight, but today I gave you the basics of pausing, preparing, pivoting. But what would happen if you had an entire plan for the entire holiday season laid out for you? And that's why I do Holy Healthy Holidays. And this year, I have a couple of themes. Keeping you on plan, but also I'm calling this Wizzy Wonderland. Wise choices, real results. We're going to have a focus for anyone that chooses to be doing Trim Healthy the Wizzy way. I'll explain what that is in a moment if you're not familiar. Actually, you know what? I'll explain it right now. Some of us have struggled with difficult weight loss. Some of us have been in a stall a very long time. Some of us find ourselves in menopausal seasons, postmenopausal seasons, going, I used to be able to drop weight just by looking at a Weight Watchers ad. And now nothing happens. I eat healthy, I do the things, and nothing happens. I can't seem to lose weight. That was me for a very long time. I started this journey in September this month. I think it's the 23rd, September of 2020. And the weight came off pretty well in the first year and a half. I lost about 70 pounds in the first year and a half. And I didn't change my focus. I stayed on plan. I kept going. I kept committed. I kept doing all the things. And yet the scale stopped moving down. In fact, it moved up a little bit. It started to go up instead of down, even though I was doing what I felt was all the foundational THM things I'd learned. I was following along and doing them, and nothing was happening. Trim Healthy Wisdom is the Trim Healthy company's newest book, and it really walks you through doing things just slightly different than the way we've always learned. Not drastically. It truly isn't drastic, but just slightly differently so that if you have difficult, stubborn weight loss, you have a path that helps you break through those stalls. To take it a step further, I was on a GLP-1 am on a GLP-1, have been on a GLP-1 for a year and a half. I lost 10 or 12 pounds when I very first started the GLP-1 and then nothing. The first month and then nothing. I was on it for over a year with nothing. I stopped it for a little while because I'm like, this is not doing me any good. Why am I paying all this money for a GLP-1? I'm not losing weight, so what's the point? I stopped it. My inflammation came back so bad, so debilitating that I said, I'm going to go back on the GLP-1 just for inflammation. And now I take a very low dose of GLP-1. Didn't help me lose weight until I started eating wisdom principles. I changed the way I ate within Trim Healthy. I started eating a lot more carbs, a lot more carbs. In fact, I very rarely eat a meal that doesn't have carbs in it now. I started exercising very differently. First of all, I started exercising, but different than any exercise I had done in the past. I am doing more than just doing things like aerobics classes and things like that. I'm lifting. I am doing Tabata. I am walking 5 days a week minimum. But lifting. I am so stronger. I rub my arm when I say that because I actually have a muscle now that I can see and it makes me really happy. I'm very proud of this little muscle right here. I like to show it to everybody. I walk around pointing out my muscle. I'm proud of that. I worked really hard for that muscle. Doing those things have finally led me to losing weight with my GLP-1. And I've lost almost 30 pounds since the beginning of June because of implementing the wisdom ways. I am the lowest weight I have been since probably 10th grade right now. I'm 168 pounds. I have not been that small. Honestly can't remember ever being under 170. Obviously, I was at some point, but I can't remember it. It's been that many years. I'm smaller now than I was when I got married, when I met my husband. And I'm sneaking up on being like, I'm gonna hit the 150s. I know I am this year, probably. Like I can see it coming. And that is shocking to me. And wisdom played a huge, huge role in that. And in August, we did the wisdom challenge in my group. And so many breakthroughs happened. Women who had been stuck forever lost weight, saw the scale move for the first time in ages, are moving their bodies in ways they've never done and feeling stronger and better for it. So I'm going to be having a full October, November, and December wisdom challenge that has a wisdom menu that also integrates treats. Okay. It doesn't mean, oh, you're not going to get to have stuffing at Thanksgiving. There's going to be treats implemented throughout this. We're still going to make candy during the Halloween season, like treats and candy. I do cooking classes. We're still going to have a cooking class that is about a Thanksgiving dish. We're still going to have Christmas cooking classes. We're still going to have those decadent, heavier desserts to enjoy through the holidays in a more integrated into wisdom way. When you're part of Holy Healthy, you'll get a weekly menu. You'll get live coaching on Monday nights with a replay if you can't come. You get a small group to be part of and get a small group support. You get all my cooking classes. You get weekly education that I do in the group where you can go in and watch at your own pace. You'll get a workbook to work through, a lot of mindset work, because all of this begins in the mindset. Because let's face it, if we all had, if all it took was recipes and cookbooks, we would have 100% of everything we need to do well, because we have 1.2 billion recipes at our fingertips. Just on Pinterest alone, you can get a recipe for anything. And if that is what brought success, we would all have met our goal weight by now. It's about mindset, and it's about participating in the group and being part of the group and putting these tips and tricks into action. So if you are ready to not just survive this holiday season, but to thrive through it, I'd love to walk with you through it. I just want to remind you that difficult seasons to walk through healthy does not mean you're failing if it's difficult. It's okay. Having women beside you through the difficulty, to carry you when you're struggling, to drag you through when you're struggling, to lift you up and encourage you, and for you to do the same for them, that is such a beautiful picture of how we are called to support one another as Christians, to lift each other up and carry each other's burdens. And that's what's so beautiful about this group. I'm going to put a link to Holy Healthy Holidays in the chat, but I'll also be sending out a replay, and it will have the link to Holy Healthy Holidays as well. Now, when you click on this link, you're going to see there are two different options. If you join at the monthly rate, and there will be a coupon code coming in your email. So watch your email after we're done to save, to get a discount on Holy Healthy Holidays. There'll be a $20 coupon code just for coming today. There's two options. If you sign up for the month to month, if you join today with the month to month, you will be set up today. Your journey starts today. If you choose the Holy Healthy Holidays pay in full option, you'll start October 1st through the end of the year. It's like a set. You'll probably start the last day of September. Holy Healthy Holidays monthly. When you sign up, my month to month goes always month to month, and you can come for a day, you can come for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever you wanted, automatically renews month to month to month. So what do we have for questions about this topic, about this topic of pressure, or anything else related to Trim Healthy or Holy Healthy Holidays? Do you guys have any questions for me at all? You can unmute yourself or just jump in and start chatting if you have any questions. Quiet group. No questions. All right then. Well, if you do come up with any questions and you don't just want to ask on here, you can message me. How do I say no to people trying to get my 2-year-old to eat sugar? Man, that is a tough one. That is a tough one. And I'd love to hear if anybody in here has any motherly advice about that. I think it's easy to get confrontational in a situation like that because we feel very protective over our babies. Like, excuse me, I've made a decision not to feed my child that. Don't try to pressure them into it. And I see it and hear it I've heard it from people saying things like, oh, it's just a treat, or, grandma loves him. Grandma wants to give him a sweet treat. I think there's different phrases you can employ. Things like, she's sweet enough already, saying it with a smile and a little humor. Saying things like, that looks yummy, but we're going to pass. She's not used to sugar yet. Or we're working on building healthy habits. We've chosen not to go the route with sugar. And here's the thing that's really important to remember. If somebody has a problem with that, that's their problem. We can address that kindly and nicely and still know at the end of the day, that's their problem. I've often felt bad about saying no to certain things. And I've had to learn through the years that, at the end of the day, it's my child or it's my health. And not everybody has to like what I choose to do. Not everybody has to like what I choose to do for my health. Not everyone has to like what I choose to do. There was some family members of mine that didn't think it was wise that I was going to homeschool my daughter. Well, guess what? Guess whose business that is? Not theirs. Yes, we're building and protecting her gut biome. People don't understand the importance of that, and it's so, so true. So true. And they don't have to come alongside you. They don't have to appreciate it. They don't have to be happy with your decision for you to still make that decision. And I think that's one of the most important things I've had to learn. And I don't think I learned a lot of that until I was in my 40s, that other people get to have their opinions. I don't have to believe it or agree with it or go with it. If somebody doesn't like that I'm raising my child without sugar, that's on them. That's on them, not me. I don't have to own that discontent with my choices. I have to own the decision that I've made for my child. Her body runs better without sugar. Lots of different phrases, but I would take the time. Yeah, she thinks, I was just thinking you could say she thinks blueberries are candy and we want to keep it that way. And if it, like I said, if it's something that makes someone unhappy, they have to own that. They have to own that. Yeah. All right, my friends. Well, I'm here if you need me. You can message me on Facebook. You can email me at kj@joyfullifewithkj.com. And he literally ate zucchini the other day and called it cake. There you go. There you go. If you think zucchini is cake, keep it up. You're doing something right. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. You can email me anytime at kj@joyfullifewithkj.com. I will get the replay out to you also with the link to Holy Healthy Holidays, and I hope to see you guys there. Thanks for joining me today. Love you guys. Bye.